Wednesday at 6:26 would be our meeting time in about 4 minutes. And as you can see through the background here, I'm in the office, and I trust you received the message that we're not going to be meeting tonight. And just in case you're wondering or wonder why nothing is wrong, I just need a little bit time to get some things sorted out, and just needed that time tonight for myself more than anything here to get some reading done and some thinking and praying. Um, so thank you for understanding that. There's three things that I'd like to share with you. Number one, to please continue to pray for Everett and Valerie. Um, he's at a nursing home in St. Paul. He was released from the hospital and sent to the nursing home, and he's had a rough day. Not to mention Valerie, just as tired and exhausted of being there um, uh, by his side this time. And so keep them in your prayers. I also remembered Tracy has been keeping me updated about her mother and her situation with COVID there, uh, and so far no oxygen is needed and no intubation, and so that's a good thing. But if you remember to pray for Tracy's mom and keep her in your thoughts and your prayers. And then lastly, the we'll have a combined service. If you remember the date, now announce it again on Sunday, and I will up until that time, August 22nd, at 11:30. We're gonna have one bilingual joint service, both our Spanish and English ministries here at our church, and we're also gonna have a softball Sunday. That Sunday we'll have a meal for our softball team and their families, and so just so you can know kind of what to expect on August 22nd at 11:30, just one service. I want to read to you a passage of scripture from the book of Luke, chapter number 6 and verse 37. And Jesus began by saying this: Judge not, and ye shall not be judged. Condemn not, and ye shall not be condemned. Forgive, and ye shall be forgiven. Give, and it shall be given to you. He mentions four things that teach us that life is reciprocal. The decisions we make, the choices we make eventually tend to come around. Some people don't attribute it to faith and to what Jesus taught. They simply call it karma, I think, or they call it what goes around comes around. And all of those sayings are true in the principle, it's a biblical principle that Jesus taught. If you want to receive, you have to give. If you want to be forgiven, you have to forgive. If you don't want to be judged, then don't judge. If you don't want to be condemned, then don't condemn. It's not realistic to do something or be somebody and expect something different to come our way. It's kind of, you plant a tomato seed, you're going to get tomatoes. You plant a cucumber seed, you're going to get cucumbers. Plant an avocado, you can't expect to get a pumpkin plant. It doesn't work that way. As much as we would like to change the course of things in midair, it's what we are. It's how we get treated. And so then he says in verse number 39, and he spake a parable unto them. Can the blind lead the blind? They shall not both fall into the ditch. Think about that. Think about how silly that tends to be, where one blind person is going to lead another blind person. Well, anybody with any common sense would tell you that's not a good idea. I can't lead somebody if I can't see myself. For me to be able to lead somebody, I have to be able to see. I have to be in a position where I have something to help the person with, whether it's my past, whether it's my experiences, whether it's my spiritual insight, whether it's um, maturity, age, whatever it is. But I have to have something to be able to help. And then it says, the disciple, verse number 40, is not above his master, but everyone that is perfect shall be as his master. And why, listen to the question, verse 41, we're in chapter 6 of Luke. And why beholdest thou the mote, that is a beam, that's another word for a beam, beam, and why beholdest thou the mote that is in thy brother's eye, but perceivest not the beam that is in thine own eye? Sorry, that mote is a piece of hay, a straw, just a skinny, small eyelash per se. And the hypocrisy is we focus, or a person can focus more on somebody's big issues, somebody's small errors in life, their small issues, whether it's they don't have it all together, whether it's the child's behavior, dress, how they decide to dress, and we point fingers and we can focus on that and worry how bad everybody else is doing, even if it's insignificant. And then Jesus said, and not perceivest not the beam that is in thine own eye. And so oftentimes what he's teaching is we're so busy and focused on others people's problems that we forget to focus on our own. And that is when one blind person tries to lead another blind person, not going to make it very far. Verse 42, either how canst thou say to thy brother, brother, let me pull out the mote that is in thine eye, when thou thyself beholdest not the beam that is in thine own eye? Thou hypocrite, cast out first, and the key word there is first, the beam out of thine own eye, and then thou shalt see clearly to pull out the mote that is in thy brother's eye. What was Jesus teaching? You are your first ministry. You are your first responsibility. And so a doctor can only help people if he stays healthy. A dentist can't help anybody if he's homesick. Oftentimes we see people that have construction companies and they're out painting houses, but their house isn't the greatest. It, needs painting, or a mechanic that's fixing other people's cars and his car has mechanical issues, and people would question that. They would question that to say, why are you fixing other people's cars and your cars? And so Jesus was saying the first priority for a Christian is not others. The first priority is yourself, And when we get to the place where we have some things figured out, we don't got to be perfect. We're never going to be perfect. We get to the place where we have some things figured out, then you can say, let me lead you, let me help you, let me guide you to find peace. Let me help you with this and help you with that. And so, church, Christianity, when it gets down to its basic form, it's us and God, and then it's us and people. It starts at home, it starts within, and then it gets to without. And so keep that in mind. We cannot help for long if we're not healed, if we're not in a good place. And so focus on yourself, focus on being right with the Lord, being right with others. And then I think we'll be more of use to others long term, and with a better mentality and a better mindset. So church, thank you again. We did not meet tonight, obviously. It's 6:35 now and no one's here and I'm here. So I think everybody got the message. And so thank you for being a great church. And we've had great services on Sundays. And so thank you for being faithful. Lord willing, we'll see you this weekend. Have a wonderful evening, get some rest, and we'll see you soon. God bless you.